Wow!
Hey guys, welcome to the second Patreon vlog. I've just come back from a grocery shopping trip. As you can see here, a bag stuffed full of relatively boring items, healthy items I might add. My lunch today is a ready meal lunch. I actually don't eat that many ready meals, believe it or not, and this is it. It's a kind of tonkatsu ready meal that goes in the microwave and away we go. But whenever I go grocery shopping, I always feel a slight sense of just disappointment and sadness. I think it's because growing up as a kid, I thought in my 20s there'd be kind of an adventurous lifestyle where I'd be like battling with pirates on gunboats, or I'd be like an astronaut in space or something. But no, I'm buying salads and spinach, and it just feels like something's gone horribly wrong between that idealised, romanticised daydreams of just being a kid and the brutal and somewhat disappointing realities of everyday real life. But anyway, broken dreams and spinach aside, let's go in the corner and have a chat. So I did want to make this video a few days ago, back when I was in Tokyo, but the hotel that I was staying in, the room was about the size of a large sofa, so I couldn't fit a tripod in, and I didn't really want to hold the camera for 10 or 15 minutes because my arm probably couldn't take it, so unfortunately I had to wait until I was back here. But it was nice to go down to Tokyo. I don't go to Tokyo as much as I'd like, maybe once every 2 or 3 months. I caught up with a lot of friends. I caught up with a lot of Jvloggers as well, Japan vloggers. I hate the term Jvlogger. I hate the term vlogger in general, but there's some really nice, really down-to-earth, cool people. I met up with Joey, who is the anime man.
You suck, anime man.
I met up with Emma, who is Tokidoki Traveller. She's really kind of fun, down-to-earth, quirky girl, and her videos are awesome. And I met up with Angela, who has a channel called Internationally Me, and it's probably the best channel when it comes to travel about Japan. You might know these guys, but if you don't, check out their channels, they're definitely worth watching. People often ask me, do all the vloggers in Japan know each other? And the answer is, generally, they do actually. I think you'll find most people seem to know each other somehow, but there's not much of a community really, it's very fragmented. There was a community about 2 or 3 years ago, but then due to a series of spectacular and unexpected events, many of which I'm sure you know, the whole community imploded in on itself, and since then it's never really recovered, so oh well. I also bumped into quite a few viewers this time actually. I was by Shibuya Crossing, by the godforsaken crossing, and in the space of about 2 or 3 hours I must have met about 4 or 5 viewers, and it's really humbling when it happens. It's nice, and it reminds you about kind of the awesomeness of YouTube, because you spend so much time sat in a room, right, making videos alone, like I am now. You get a bit kind of disconnected from the actual, the scale of it, you know. When you see your view count with 500,000 people, it's difficult to imagine that that is 500,000 people. So when you're walking down the street and somebody says hello, it kind of helps put it in perspective, and it is nice. I met someone by the crossing, someone in a restaurant, someone in a British bar, and someone in McDonald's, which tells you my habits of a general night out. It was good. And if you do see me walking down the street ever in Japan or something, or anywhere in the world, do come and say hello. I'm not scary, I'm not going to bite, probably, and I'm thoroughly normal and even quite boring. So yeah, do come and say hello if you see me. Following on from the North Korean video saga thing last week, I'm still caught up in it, unfortunately. It's good that there's been lots of views and subscribers, but I've still been bombarded with comments and just shit. I've got an interview with ITV tonight, which is one of the largest TV stations in the UK, for a slot on a primetime show, talking about the North Korean situation in Japan and what Japanese people think about it. It's weird. I've inadvertently just suddenly become an expert on the geopolitical situation of East Asia just by being in a video where I'm annoyed and tired. So it's a weird situation, and I find myself, I can't decide whether or not this week to make a follow-up video to the North Korean thing that I put out last week. I was thinking of making a video talking about how if you come to Japan, you don't really have to worry about North Korea, because I've got a lot of people in the comment section saying, oh, is it safe to come to Japan now because of the situation? I was thinking of going on holiday, but now I've cancelled it, and that's what I don't want, especially as a result of my videos. So yeah, I'm trying to weigh up whether or not to do a follow-up video. Let me know what you think on that. And if I do it, I've got to try and work out if I'm going to be sarcastic and witty, or try and be sarcastic and witty, like I normally do, or to just be serious, because it is kind of a serious topic. I don't know if I want to make fun of a situation that involves a potential nuclear holocaust, but then again, it's difficult for me to take most things seriously. So upside, it would be a popular video, lots of views, and it's a genuinely important situation to discuss. Downside, it could seem a bit clickbaity. I'm delaying other videos that might be more interesting or important, and I'm not the sort of person who likes to drag out a situation again and again. I like to just get it out of the way and move on. So I don't know, I've got to try and weigh it up. Let me know your thoughts on that, because it could decide whether or not I make a video about North Korea this Friday. I'm also trying to create some kind of interesting and funny video selling or promoting the merchandise, because finally next week the Abroad in Japan merchandise store opens, and you can see here I'm wearing the Fuck Sake shirt. I love it. That's probably my favourite design. But yeah, I've got to decide whether or not, I've got to decide how. I was thinking of making an Apple style kind of parody commercial. Like, you know, with Apple they always make those, they wheel out Joni Ive, the British guy, and he has his nice voice about how this year's iPhone is the best iPhone they've ever made yet. And they talk about the product in that over-the-top fashion that seems to work. So I thought about doing that, but then it is a bit of a cliche, so yeah, I've got to try and work that out. If you've got any ideas for how to sell the merchandise or how to make a good video, let me know about that as well. Although I did film Natsuki, there's going to be one segment where Natsuki's in it doing his thing, so hopefully if my segment fails, the first half of the video, Natsuki's segment, wearing the t-shirt, should hopefully deliver and ensure people buy the mug, buy the t-shirt and buy the pillow. This month is another action-packed, crazily busy month, especially as we've got Natsuki the movie on the horizon. We have a video where Natsuki and I travelled to Sapporo. It was a really cool trip, so hopefully I can edit it together in a way that does it justice. As for the coffee video, I've had to delay that just because I haven't given up coffee, and I don't think I will be giving up coffee for the foreseeable future, especially against the backdrop of Natsuki the movie and the many, many hours of editing that is going to require. We've also got a video that we filmed in the UK with Natsuki trying various Japanese British foods. We went to 4 different restaurant chains in the UK: Wasabi, Yo Sushi, Wagamama's, and another one that I can't remember off the top of my head. And then towards the end of the month we have the video about travelling Japan without Japanese and seeing how difficult or how easy it is to do. So lots of cool videos on the way this month. Natsuki the movie should be out the first week of October. I know I said September, but it just isn't realistic. It's a really important thing to me, this documentary, not just because it's the first major project that I've undertaken on the channel, but because I really want to do Natsuki justice and make him look good. And I've changed the tone of the video over the last few weeks. Originally it was kind of going to be a silly, wacky, stupidly crazy thing, where he goes to the UK and loads of ridiculous things happen, as you can see in the trailer. And whilst that is all still going to be in it, I've tried to change the tone and make it more serious, because there is a serious story there to Natsuki's life. He, like a lot of Japanese people living in rural areas, he faces a situation where the population is declining and thus business is going down, and he's slightly worried about the future of his business, his beauty salon. So we've got that to talk about as well. You'll find when producing a video that even just one extra day of editing can make a huge difference. It can take a video that's a 7 out of 10 and make it a 9 out of 10. So I'm not going to lose any sleep over that. If I have to take a bit more time than I originally intended, then I will, just to make sure that the final video is something that everyone could enjoy. In other news, I've been a bit of an emotional wreck this week. I read 2 books, and I don't really read that often, but I read one book and it was so good that I read another book by the same author, Richard Lloyd Parry, who is a British author living in Japan who writes for The Times as a journalist. And he wrote 2 books. The first one I read was called The People Who Eat Darkness, which is not an encouraging name for a book. It does sound quite disturbing, and it is disturbing. He tells the story of Lucy Blackman, who was a British girl who came to Japan in, I think, the year 2000 to work in Roppongi part-time, just as a hostess girl, you know, where you kind of serve Japanese businessmen's drinks and talk to them and light their cigarettes. It's a pretty harmless job, but something went wrong. She disappeared and they found her body in a cave. They found her remains in a cave a few months later, and it's about what happened to her and the crazy psycho motherfucker who did it. And it's really quite a horrible story, but if you're into crime, It's definitely worth a read. And I read an equally disturbing and unpleasant story, again written by Richard Lloyd Parry, the journalist, called Ghosts of the Tsunami. And it's about a school in the town of Ishinomaki, which is about an hour and a half away from where I am actually. And it's about a school called Okawa Primary School that was next to a river that was affected by the tsunami, and the entire school was obliterated, and about 90% of all the children died due to human error, really, and some terrible mistakes made by the staff and teachers of the school. They were right next to a mountain, but they didn't go up on the mountain, and they paid a terrible price for that. But it's about how the local government tried to cover up what happened. Pretty grim political story there, and about kind of the factors in Japanese culture that led to the staff making the ill-informed decisions that led to the deaths of all of the students. But they are both really good books, really well researched, really well written, but yeah, very emotional and moving. And I had a few days where I just felt a bit odd after reading them both back to back, which probably wouldn't advise, but no, they're definitely worth a read if you're somebody who likes to read. I've put a link to them in the post on Patreon. And finally, I'll put another link on Patreon to a video I saw yesterday of a cat island. I think it's called Ainoshima or Aishima, can't remember the name of it, but it's another cat island. There are so many bloody cat islands in Japan, and they're all trying to vie for the position of being the #1 cat island. The original #1 cat island, Tashirojima, is just off the coast of Sendai. This island is near Fukuoka, the complete opposite end of Japan. And to try and promote the island, they made a video, a really well made video of the cats on the island to the soundtrack of Ed Sheeran, which I can't agree is a good soundtrack to use, but nonetheless, they're trying to tempt Ed Sheeran to come and visit the island, and it might just work, because it might go viral. But it's a nice video if you like cats, and it's definitely worth checking out. But for now though, guys, I think that's pretty much it. There'll be 2 videos out in the next 7 days, one about North Korea, if you tell me to do it, and one about merchandise. And then there could be an appearance on ITV News in the UK. I'll try and obtain the video if I can to show you. I've got about 35 minutes to make myself look good, put on my makeup, and potentially change this shirt, because I don't think a shirt saying "for fuck, suck it" will be allowed on British national television, so there's that to work out. But I'd love to. It could be the ultimate product placement, couldn't it? Yeah. Decisions. But for now though, guys, I hope you have a great start to the week, and I'll see you in the coming days. Take care.